Welcome back everyone, Christine here with more Age of Empires 4. I've already beaten the campaign, but I'm re-recording this particular video because I wasn't quite satisfied with how I handled this mission the first time around. The Battle of Patay, desperation. Jeanne d'Arc's perseverance had paid off. With the English in retreat, she could deliver the fatal blow. Well, the English weren't quite... the army she defeated at Patay wasn't really an English... the English army that had besieged Orleans. It had been a reinforcement army that was heading to help at Orleans, but they didn't arrive in time. Then they tried to retreat and, well, half of them were wiped out.
Jeanne d'Arc had liberated Orleans and put the English army to flight. However, as the English retreated, they became an obstacle for Charles the Dauphin. He needed a clear path from Chinon to Reims, where he would be crowned king. Nearing the town of Patay, the English sought to regroup. But Jeanne d'Arc and her French army were closing in.
Now, there's some nonsense that Jeanne d'Arc didn't win the Battle of Patay. It's even on the wiki. To which I reply, yes, she did. It was her army that won it. She might not have been necessarily at the battlefield, but she ordered, from what I understand, she was told that the English were there, and she ordered her vanguard to go in. And the vanguard were able to catch the English off guard in out of position, and they were wiped out. Chased from the Loire Valley by Jeanne d'Arc's relentless pursuit, the remnants of England's forces fled for the safety of the north. At Patay, the French army could make sure they never made it. This was, you have to understand, Jeanne of Arc's victory here was the turning point. I mean, Orleans, I guess you could say, was the turning point, but this was really a nail in the coffin for England's chances in France that they never recovered from, because they lost an enormous number of their best troops, their longbowmen.
Fleeing the Loire Valley, the English were on the run. As they retreated northwards, a French vanguard was in close pursuit.
So we get horsemen and we get knights. We are going to have to go.
Caught out of position, the French faced a surprise attack from the English rearguard.
Now, the reason the French vanguard, the cavalry, was able to win, which, by the way, was a risk what Jeanne d'Arc did, the reason they were able to win so handily.
A detachment of English archers blocked the road with palings, an effective measure against cavalry. The French vanguard had to clear the road if they were to call in reinforcements.
Yeah, the reason they were able to do so well at Patay is because the English were out of position. So yeah, palings, you know, sharpened stakes on the ground and all that kind of stuff usually meant a decisive advantage. Not this time. Let's get like here.
With the road cleared, the French army could safely bring in reinforcements from nearby allies. The French army paid their ally and received a detachment of reinforcements.
Alright, so we got spearmen, veteran spearmen over there. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that scout and I'm going to get some of those
Hearing the rallying cry of the English coming from the village of St. Sigmund, the French were alerted to the enemy position.
Alright, so we can get men-at-arms
The French army saw a chance to bolster their numbers and sent payment to their ally in return for reinforcements.
Alright, so we're gonna get these guys, all of them together. I do have a lot of cavalry, but if I just send cavalry in against these spears, they will get, suffer heavy casualties. But that's fine, you know, that the situation for me is fine as it is. I'm, you know what, I don't even need to sacrifice that guy. So let's just clear, let's just clear that with using man-at-arms, crossbows. I mean, these guys could win the settlement on their own, but I then just bring so many knights just to like sit on my ass with them.
The French recaptured St. Sigmund and prepared to rendezvous with Jeanne d'Arc.
Alright, we're gonna call in those men-at-arms.
Detachment had set up a blockade. So long as that force was in place, the French Vanguard could not reach Jeanne.
So what are we dealing with? Alright. They do have mangonels, so that's gonna be a bit of an issue. Now this is where I can lose a lot of men if I'm not careful. There is a path here, but there are English units in the woods. Just bear in mind. Okay. And I want to be careful. Like, I have to decide, do I lose a lot of my cavalry? All right, let's go.
With the English blockade destroyed, the French vanguard rejoiced at the arrival of Jeanne d'Arc and her troops.
Alright, let's get Lahir's troops in it.
With their rearguard eliminated, the remaining English forces would now seek to escape the valley through the town of Patay. 3 enemy regiments were converging on the town along 3 main roads. Jeanne had either to stop the regiments on the roads or race ahead to fortify Patay itself.
All right. Let's get Patay. Did take heavy casualties getting there, but I did manage to get there. Alright. We're gonna head over to Patay itself, where you need a gold. Now at Patay, I am going to get this place, and that will allow me
sending gold to their ally. The French army received fresh reinforcements.
Right. So with that gold there, those
As the forces of the valiant Jeanne d'Arc entered the town, the people of Patay rallied to her cause.
now you don't need anything other than do we have can I get that? Yeah, I can actually. Hold on. Just need gold.
Archers, compagnon, annonce, apparemment.
Oyette laisse commande présent. Vienne ordonner.
Courez à l'arçon et Brest.
Just need to give him a bit of time.
Accesta, compagnon. En rappel.
Que faut-il donc besoigner?
Oyette, tout le monde. Oyette, laisse.
Bayette moi besoigne.
Où dois-je, Reader? Je fais vos commandements. Courez où? Brest, port des parties. Certain. Ivois avant.
All right.
Test vos commandements.
So I'm just gonna get a bunch of Royal Knights.
Oyette bien, compagnon. Dicte-moi vos commandements. Je fais vos commandements.
So they started here. They're burning over here. There's some resources on that side.
Comme il vous plaise.
Now you can see the vast French army that I have at my disposal. There's a lesson. Alright, we got more gold over here. Yeah, it's a fairly easy battle. In fact, I kind of regret that I didn't record it at the same time with the actual Siege of Orléans.
Compagnon, ça compagnon. En rappel. Access libéré.
Oyette laisse si pecte sera. À Montry, avant.
Compagnon, annonce, à part main.
On me fait au train. Crix.
Acest metzvos, je gagne mon gage. Que faut-il donc besoigner? Chevalier Bastir. Les autres, laisse commandement.
Commandement in continent.
All right, get some horsemen.
Soyez prêts.
Oye, compagnon, nos allons. Courez si fes comme dois.
I'm curious a bit what else I have here.
Veichi les allons ce sens.
Mais ici, oui, à part main. Bien oeil, compagnon, nos allons. Comme il vous plaise. Si veille.
Commandement compagnon. Marchez derrière.
A vast horde of
Compagnon,
France's finest arrive.
acest met, je gagne.
Now, Springolds aren't that dangerous. Angonels are, absolutely, but... Not Springolds. Fortunately, he's got Mangonels there. Springolds are more of an anti-siege unit, really. And that's a victory.
After an intense pursuit and a hard-fought battle, the French crushed the remaining English army, thwarting their desperate retreat. Now the triumphant Jeanne d'Arc could safely lead Charles to Reims for his coronation as King of France.
All right. So, the Cathedral of Kings. If Charles the Dauphin was to become King of France, he must be crowned at Reims. Centuries earlier, Clovis, the first Frankish king, was baptized at Reims with oil from a holy ampoule said to have been delivered by the Holy Spirit. The Archbishop of Reims still held that ampoule, with the ability to sanctify the Dauphin as king. But Reims stood deep in English-held territory, and Charles turned again to Jeanne d'Arc. She led them through enemy territory, freeing town after town. At Reims, the people welcomed their pair. With his miraculous savior beside them, the Dauphin knelt at the cathedral altar and arose as King Charles VII of France. And with that, his need for Jeanne came at an end. That's not quite true. I mean, you can blame the king if you want to for her fate, or you can blame Jeanne for being too much of a damn risk taker and that finally catching up to her. But just something I want to mention here, because some people are like, oh, you're not playing hard. I'm like, fuck off. That genuinely piss off. It's like, this mission isn't that hard. Why? Because you have some perception of how it's gonna be, or it's like things didn't play out the same in your mission. It's like, yeah, that happens. Medieval soldiers.
Medieval soldiers suffered brutal injuries in battle. Their chance of survival lay with barber surgeons. From cutting hair to removing limbs on the battlefield, the job of a barber surgeon was varied, and so were their tools.
600 years ago, surgery was very different from today, and this is some of the kit that the surgeons of then would be using. For example, amputations. This bit of kit was used to cut through the skin. Then you need to get through bone, and this is what they used. Believe it or not, this was used for neurosurgery. But what they didn't have at the time was anesthesia.
Despite carrying out major surgery, barber surgeons had no formal training.
What they learned on the job, and the place where they practiced the most was the battlefield.
This was also a time when new surgical techniques were developed, particularly when it came to saving the life of a future king. In 1403, 16-year-old Prince Henry was injured in the Battle of Shrewsbury while fighting rebels trying to overthrow his father, King Henry IV.
The arrow penetrated his right cheek and became lodged at the base of his skull. He was very lucky it didn't kill him instantly.
Prince Henry pulled the arrow from his face. The shaft came out, but the arrowhead remained lodged inside.
They needed to get that out before infection set in and killed him.
To the rescue, celebrated surgeon John Bradmore. Bradmore recorded what he did to save the prince's life, including a picture of the tool he made to extract the arrowhead.
And it works by ensuring that the tip is closed and then inserting it along the track caused by the arrowhead until it meets the arrowhead.
Then the screw is turned to expand the tip, locking it in place inside the arrowhead.
And then ever so slowly and gently, you extract, making sure that you don't lose it along the way. I'm amazed by the skill that would have been needed to do this successfully. Can you imagine how good that felt when that came out?
The young prince survived to become King Henry V, hero of Agincourt. But perhaps the real heroes of medieval medicine were the barber surgeons, who saved countless lives on the battlefield.
All right, and that would be it. The Battle of Patay. Jeanne d'Arc and her army were victorious. The English retreat was thwarted, and the path to Reims for Charles' coronation was clear. Almost 32, by the way. So with all that said, right, with Patay, yeah, it was a pivotal battle, a pivotal moment, really, a decisive battle. Like, Orleans was also a decisive moment. Like, if nothing else, Jeanne d'Arc did change the fate of the war with just these two. I mean, it's not that simple, though. Orleans was not just like, oh, between Orleans and Patay, it wasn't just that simple. I mean, yeah, Orleans, the English retreated, but they still had many garrisons along the Loire. So Jeanne had to clear those garrisons, which is something that's reflected in Age of Empires too, where you have the mission after Orleans, where you are crossing the Loire and you are fighting the English garrisons in castles, right? You have to defeat those castles, and then you have the English army setting up and potentially attacking you as well. And that you don't have Patay, right? In general, it feels like they wanted to avoid having the same scenarios play out in Age of Empires 4 as they did in Age 2 already. They kind of wanted to complement it, but you can't avoid Orleans. It's just too important. So anyway, Christine here signing out. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and enable notifications, and stay tuned for more.